Chora is a very unique map. That's one of the worst maps for actually trying to apply the strategies that I try to teach with fob spam and outmaneuvering the enemy. The linear nature of the map makes that incredibly difficult if the enemy team actually wants to prevent you from doing it, and even if they're not actively trying to prevent you, it's easy to passively prevent people just because of how choke pointy this map is and how difficult it can be to navigate some of the terrain. Because of that, I have to take kind of a hybrid approach to Chora. I can't always just build on the opposite side of an objective and push in while everybody's looking the other way. I'm still always going to try to, when it's a possibility. If I can get around the opposite side of the map and get a fob behind the objective, I'm going to. But that fob has to have more utility than just a flanking attack fob. It has to be a fob that's going to be relevant to the match as a whole in case I can't get a truck back there. I always have to assume that every fob I'm building could theoretically be the last fob I'm going to be able to build if I get shot out as well. So although I do try to use these strategies, I cannot rely on them. And because of that, I also have to work towards some aspects of improving microplay, which is a very difficult thing to accomplish if you're leading blueberries. If you're a pub SL and you're watching this, you're going to see me have a lot of benefits by leading a clan here, and it's going to help the match a lot. I'm not sure I could have won this match in the way that I did with pubs, even if I put a ton more energy into the match and actually tried to get them to do the things that my clan is doing automatically. One of the most annoying aspects of Chora is that although it is linear, it is not necessarily small in the same sense that Sumari or Logar is. On those maps, I can 100% dedicate a full 9-man squad to spawn wiping and go nowhere near the actual cap range of objectives, and I will doubtlessly have a positive impact on the match. When it comes to Chora, I really have to judge it by ear. It's quite challenging. I can take a full 9-man squad to the opposite end of the objectives and then push through, and then come around those objectives and look for spawns and probably have a positive impact. But that could directly lead to us losing an objective and then being quite significantly out of position in a way that we wouldn't have been on Sumari or Logar, where they would have had to take several objectives for us to even be considered out of position. However, normally off game start, if I'm making the decision to push opposite objectives or not, it's going to be based on where the objectives actually are, and traditionally when I'm playing Chora it's AAS, but in this instance we're playing RAAS V1, which is a 3-lane, believe it or not, 6 flag that can go north, south, or central. So at this point I'm just going to pick the opposite direction of where the other squad is going, and hit up the north side roughly around flag 3 so I don't overextend and get blown up, and then we'll play it by ear.
Honestly, squad 5, we're gonna back cap Monolith.
If you're a full 9-man, I'd highly recommend just going further out. I'll just send my cap out, or Tiger to Monolith.
Roger. We're going with 3.
Now, in Chora AAS, the rush is everything, getting exactly to where you need to be at the exact right moment, with the armor taking a very specific path and you taking a very specific path. Just the early game rush is everything. But with RAAS, we can be a bit more relaxed. I'm going to build a little bit further west than I might on AAS V1. But in the end of the day, I'm going to have my people pushing east as quickly as possible after I get my fob down, just to get complete north map control. Regardless of where the objectives go, I can probably loop around and start looking for where they're placing their fobs, and hopefully trust the blueberries who are going down south to strong point those objectives if the lane goes down south, and then the opposite is true if the lane goes directly to me. I can try to win the micro game, I can try to fight as well as I possibly can off of that fob, and then I can try to encourage the people down south to get around and deal with the spawns at the source. But obviously, the big question mark here is the blueberries. I am relying on the micro game of blueberries, which goes against everything that I want to do in your average pub game, but Chora can oftentimes just force my hand here, especially if the enemy team actively or passively prevents me from doing any sneaky logi flanks this round. Now, as I leave main here, you'll see that I have 1800 build in my truck, and as I said, I always assume on Chora that it is very possible that every fob I build is going to be the last fob I am able to build. It is entirely possible that they'll get around us going straight down the riverbed and start working towards complete asset denial and mining main, or they will just completely control all of the flanks where I would traditionally build other fobs. I'm gonna get mortars up straight away. Do I have anyone who wants to run them?
I volunteer.
Sweet. I need one other person to stay on truck with me.
I can.
Okay. I'm also going to ATGM. I'm going to dump all 18 here, build ATGM, 2 mortars, hab, and then I'm going to double back for supply. You don't have to be with me right away. I'll pick somebody up after.
What about Hesco?
Fuck you. Just push for map control as fast as possible. Just push east indiscriminately. I don't even need somebody staying behind for flag. Just push the fuck east and cause as much havoc as possible. We'll have respawners actually pick up the flags as they pop up. So pay attention to that as well.
Gonna try and get a Lachi on train. Or radio.
Bloody, you man the ATGM. Sniffles on mortars. Everybody else push east. So like I said, I'm kind of building in preparation for a stalemate, getting indirect fire up so we can immediately delete any habs in the open, getting an ATGM up so we might get a lucky Logi pop or kill light Vix as the game progresses. This particular layer only has light vehicles, there's no APCs. We sent one to the back caps, which I probably should have mentioned earlier, but we have the back caps covered with a light Vic, and then the other one went early to basically down the north road to see if we could find any positions. They ran into enemy light Vics, they exchanged fire, they blew up, and we do have confirmation on the location of a Logi. So I'm just telling my guys to get eyes on the hab and basically direct sniffles in. I want to find out where that is as early as possible. I'm also trying to hurry and build this shit and get back into the truck. And as I'm driving back to main, I'm kind of trying to piece together what's happening. Keep in mind that at this point, lane still isn't clarified, so the objectives could be right on top of me, or the objectives could be south, but either way, I want people pushing east, and I want to know about hab locations as early as I possibly can.
They had a Logi on this intersection and MRAP. They're both moving northwest.
Yeah. Not bad, dude.
Narcity,
Yeah,
that's central or south, it could still come to us. Central's pretty diverse.
nice take mark.
So the second flag clarifies central or south lane. The northern flags in the central lane can still come to us, so I still want people pushing in this direction. And once again, I still kind of feel like I could justify dedicating having 9 men off of objectives as a somewhat risky play if we can hurry and find hab locations on the east side quick enough to the point where we're not going to be losing objectives because of this choice. As I said, it's not a safe bet like other maps, but it is a potentially viable strategy. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I'm paying a lot of attention to where the objectives are actually popping up. We're about to see where third flag pops up, which should completely clarify lane and clarify where I need to go from here. Meanwhile, I'm hearing people in squad chat call out that they're destroying an MRAP. There's potentially another MRAP. I'm not 100% sure on what's going on, where the Logi stopped, so I'm trying to get as much confirmation as I can about what matters, which is where the spawns are. Is the Logi completely out?
Hey, command, you need some help?
No, I stick on the south end. Objectives are most likely going there. Can I get confirmation that we killed or disabled a Logi, and they did not get a fob up? What happened with the Logi that you guys were calling out?
We got up. Nobody downed it. They continued on. On that intersection where I think it might be. There's a lot of guys spawning there.
I need eyes on whatever they get up.
You need somebody with you, Cap?
I'm picking up Wong.
Yeah. That fucking MRAP, it's just out of sight.
Yeah, he's sitting in a good spot.
Alright, I'm wrapping up on Vineyard right now.
Seconds.
Plus.
Don't go that Cap, turn around.
Crows.
Get on the,
Wow, that's cool.
Working
Get
on
shot out by infantry.
How'd you get shot out inside?
I don't know. Guess I was glitched through.
The tiger sucks. Beautiful.
That's one kill.
You still up?
So as mentioned, I still try to use my traditional tactics. I still try to go for these crazy logi flings. I just accept that there's a decent chance of death, and if that happens, I work with what I currently have.
Hey, we're gonna need some support at Lower Orchard.
Close compound we're at.
If you guys are dying, don't keep respawning up there. Start spawning on objectives. I'm gonna get a fob around the east side. I'm trying to get confirmation on that hab. Is the hab accurate? Is the enemy hab mark accurate?
They are on my body, pushing west.
I'm not sure.
So I'm going to freeze frame the map right now because there is a lot to talk about. I am still spawning on a hab out of position and pushing east. I got confirmation that the Logi made it out and headed south from where they initially saw it, which is close to that MRAP mark. So at this point in time, my assumption is that they went towards Radio Tower or somewhere near Orchard. I also see that hab mark pop up southeast of Radio Tower and east of Orchard, and my immediate assumption is that the Logi made it there. What I don't see right now, while I'm looking at the map while also driving, is the Logi mark north of the objective. Now this marker gets deleted pretty damn quickly, and I never actually see the Logi marker. What I do end up seeing later is a lot of contact pushing north of that objective and getting marked, and I assume that there is a fob somewhere around there, but I also assumed it got created after the fact. Now, looking back, it's pretty apparent that that was the Logi that we missed, and I probably should have had the people who were spawning north immediately push that since it was a problem. But what I'm choosing to do instead is I'm choosing to spawn people at the objective to meat grind with the rest of the blueberries there. Because as you can see, this is just classic fob wars. The current active objective is right between an enemy fob, which is marked, and a friendly fob, which is marked. We don't have complete confirmation that the enemy fob is there, but I'm willing to bet it is. It's a pretty common location. It's either there or radio. And we are going to get into a micro fight. It's that simple. It's just classic fob wars. And what I want to do is, as quickly as possible, prevent that from happening and give us an advantage over them. However, the enemy squad with the Logi to the west is basically doing the same thing by setting up there. They are trying to get behind our fob. So it's going to become an interesting dynamic. Right now I'm having Sniffles set up for the far hab, and I would have prioritized the northwest one right now, since I still could have had my people spawning at the fob we created to push it, and I could have had mortars hitting it quick with people who could be on those roofs spotting for it. That probably would have been my prioritization if I had noticed it, but I didn't notice it at the time, so instead right now I'm prioritizing having people spawn and meat grind, and then push the east one, and then I'm going to try to build a fob around it so we can actually take care of it. Now, I am very worried about how the blueberries are going to be fighting off of that hab down there, because this team was losing very heavily for several matches, and we finally decided to all hop over, which is a pain in the ass because there's quite a few of us on. But we finally decided to all hop over, and we just won the last match. But Chora is a much more micro-focused game, and it's going to be more difficult to compensate for bad microplay. So in the end of the day, if they all start getting meat grinded on the west, which is highly likely, we are potentially in a very bad situation. So there is definitely a lot riding on my ability to get a fob on the eastern side of this map, which is going to be a very challenging ordeal because, as you can see, I'm still on the north side of the river, but the moment I cross to the south side of the river, the likelihood of a light Vic or a Logi crossing paths with me, or even occasionally running into some guy migrating from main base, is actually pretty high and pretty sketchy on Chora. Well, this is a bad hab, but you know, it is what it is.
They're in the smoke.
You want us all moving with you?
Yep, we're all shifting to offense on this hab. Go ahead and hold the rest of your ammo, Sniffles.
Okay.
Basically, for the entire rest of the match, you guys are spawning here, pushing offense, finding fobs. Sniffles is mortaring the fobs. Deny logistics, kill Vix, whatever you have to do, just control the entire fucking East End market and let me know everything going on at market.
Hab going up in 10.
If there's ATs and engineers, just mine the roads and I'm good, but mine the roads, prevent Vix from getting in.
Moving.
Make your
They're
first
close enough to
priority
pick me
finding
off
out
the
if they have a
ATGM
hab
sniffle.
on move.
I'm worried about our only hab on lower. getting flanked from the north.
I gotta have up here.
Which one's bot?
Southmost. South of you.
Oh yeah.
He's
He's
on
got
the
had that. Brad's got
Yeah, it's in the
hab.
river.
Oh, it's just opposite to where we are. Fun. Okay, I'll move in.
Hey, Beard, just
Yeah.
to your northeast.
That's proxy.
There's two, three of them.
Do it.
I took pot shots at them, so they're probably looking towards me. Roger.
Orient for that hab in case they go down, Sniffles. So you'll notice that a lot of what I'm doing right now is very similar to what I did on the Logar match where I did dedicated mortars. The only difference is it is not nearly as sure of a bet. On Logar, you kill 2 to 3 habs, you win the game. Simple. As long as you can deny the 2 roads they have out of main, you're golden. Now you can do similar things on this map, but it's a much bigger task, and I'm currently dedicating 9 men to denying logistics and finding habs, which means our objective play will suffer. And if you're worried about the north, you can spawn at our north hab and find the spawn.
Hey.
I
Spawn it.
I think they were
Yeah,
just
you're hot.
flanking
Never mind.
Yeah, 2 marksmen.
like that along those lines.
Okay.
They were able to get a hab over there.
I'm hearing
Here,
what's a
Logi.
Logi?
Logi south.
Logi south.
Ah, crap.
Thrown down a possible enemy hab mark, not accurate. Good kill.
You might as well mine that south head mark.
Yeah, I'll get the bridges.
So there's a lot going on right now. We're taking down logistics, we have eyes on a hab, we have a mortar trained on the hab in case our infantry doesn't take it down. We're doing a lot of good on the eastern side of the map, but this isn't Logar. It's not a sure bet. Once we take down this fob and we destroy the logi that comes in, it's not a guarantee that we're now going to be doing amazingly well. Because as predicted, our blueberries are meat grinding the fuck out of that western fob and are losing fob wars. Our team has predictably worse micro. And at this point, I'm a little bit stretched. I have to secure the east. If they get another Logian right after we take down this fob, it was all for nothing. But I also want to be flanking the north fob, which we don't have a 100% accurate mark on. If we got a 100% accurate mark, we could be mortaring it, but that's not going to be the case. And normally if we had one single defensive fob and our defense was falling, I would just go and build more fobs around and try to secure a better spawn network, but this is Chora. If I go anywhere in the south with this Logi, I'm absolutely fucked, and that radio blocks any potential safe hab building. The best I could do is a border radio with a stretched hab to protect our next flag in line. Fortunately, we took down the fob that we drove up next to, and now we're already working on mortaring the next one.
Eyes on. That mark is good. Sniffles, start raining in on that fob. I'll raise you in.
Alright.
Going in.
Just let me die so we don't promise you. Just let me die.
There's a few in there, like 3 or 4.
Mark at 100%. We have mortars. We don't really need to be killing fobs,
I have
just
to feel.
finding them.
Hey.
We're losing lower orchard.
I know, but when we kill this, it doesn't matter.
FTLing. Give me a second.
The blueberries are just gonna keep me grinding, we just have to give them
Accurate.
Run. South.
mortars.
Move mark, Zach.
Ready to fire.
Have another one.
Go ahead.
Hey, squad
Steer
3,
clear, bud.
squad 4, we just dropped off
That's
supplies
fine.
at your head, so if you wanna, I don't know, build mortars or something, do whatever.
Send those mortars into orchard.
Okay, we're just trying to spawn.
Like
Don't
three
bother
of
with
them.
orchard, just kill the spawns.
Wrong, you're gonna die.
Wrong, there's a lot of them. It's alright. You're slightly right. Take the left, 1 degree. Good hit. Took the top off. Keep going.
That's all we have to do, guys. Just find mortar, find mortar, find mortar.
We have enemies inside of nursery.
So as you can see, there's an enemy squad doing the same shit that I'm doing to the enemy team back to us. They have enemies on our next flag in line. They have enemies now on the mortar fob who have gone up there. The people working off that northwest fob are also working on some extent to the same level of asset denial that we are. Theoretically, this means that both teams are in pretty equal position. We have our meat grinding fobs that are pushing a central objective, and then we have our external fobs that are working on taking down those meat grinding fobs. The difference is that our external fobs are doing better, and our internal fobs are doing worse. The meat grinding thing is going to shit and we're losing the objective, but we are managing to take down their fob, and they are just kind of in our back area taking down auxiliary fobs at the moment. The worst part of all of this is that our mortars went down at just the wrong moment. I just didn't have enough people to stretch out to do asset denial and to keep constant mortars going that were actually protected. So instead I'm just going to build more mortars on the next objective in line where there's already a fob, so I can get Sniffles back up as quickly as possible so we can ensure that that east fob goes down. In the meantime, our blueberries are now going to naturally make progress because we've deleted the enemy spawn. Now, if the enemies are good, they can still be working off of rallies pretty effectively. Rallies are very strong on Chora, but I mean, this is a pub game, so I'm just going to assume that we've at least knocked out a couple of squads from being able to spawn back there because everybody didn't have a rally up. Now, the truth is, right now, I choose to take a big risk. My thought process right now is that I can probably outpace the enemy team on objectives. I pretty much just got confirmation that their east fob at least had the top off, and I'm going to build mortars now so that in the assumption that we didn't fully destroy it, we can maintain mortars in the position and make sure it isn't rebuilt. Once that's done, we have an extremely strong advantage in terms of spawns on the east side. We took down 2 of theirs, we denied their logistics a couple of times, and we have a spawn network on not just the next flag, but the flag after that. Now, it's highly likely that most of the enemy team is now going to be spawning on that north fob, which is in prime position to be fucking up our fob, but if we get to the objective, if people are actually able to walk off and deal with the contact that remains there because they no longer have a spawn, we will capture the objective possibly as we lose or as we are about to lose our initial spawn. Now, this is just basic strategy on bigger maps. You just want to outpace the enemy, leave people behind on irrelevant objectives, and it's fine. On Chora, it's not as simple because people can just walk from those positions and completely fuck you in the ass as you're capturing objectives because they're that close together. This means that in order to actually outpace the enemy, I have to do things at just the right time perfectly well, or we're just going to end up in an unresolvable double neutral.
First doorway on your right, fart.
Killed 1. There's 2. And there's a lodge here.
They're 100.
Yeah, it's marked.
Just go right back to mortaring that hab. What's up?
Yep.
We need more people spawning nursery. They're just going to come in from their north hab. Expect contact to come in like this on nursery any second now.
I'm down here on their head.
So what I want to do, because our defense objective opened up and now it's more vulnerable, and because we're already seeing progress on the objective that we just lost that's already being pushed pretty easily by contact, and I'm getting my mortars up to make sure that that remains the case and that fob remains down, is I want to convince blueberries to spawn back on our defense and push the contact that is inevitably going to come in from the north. Because if I'm going to outpace these guys, those guys cannot get a double neutral. I don't think I can resolve a double neutral in time for the game win if that happens. So I'm desperately going to try to get the other SLs to get a few people to spawn there and push north. We don't have to hold them for long, just long enough. We're already set up on the next 2 objectives. As I said, this is a big gamble. Being able to outpace people on Chora, that's not always viable, but I think we're in the position to do it. So I'm telling my squad to stop worrying about the hab that we already have marked. We're just going to mortar the fuck out of that, and just keep on working on asset denial, and then in turn get cappers into radio station. Just go for radio, we'll delete this hab with mortars. Go for move mark. There's just gonna be contact pushing nursery soon.
Roger.
So we gotta hope that we neutralize in time.
Hey, y'all got those supplies in nursery alright?
Gotcha, moving.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah, no problem.
There's one saw gunner in there.
Sending rounds.
They're rolling back to their defense. I see you have
There's one
two on you.
Yep.
Fucking Christ.
Where'd they get you from?
South. Somewhere on the wall, he's camping. Marksman.
I tagged the marksman once. Couldn't finish him.
Did you guys have eyes on
Where are
any
the-
other
where are the
spawns?
mortars on nursery?
West.
Just the one south.
Airship.
I went back up.
I see. I see.
Already took it.
That airstrike gave me a minor heart attack because assets are just so fucking powerful on Chora, where you can't necessarily be building insane fob networks on defense. If they got our one fob there, that actually could have changed the game. Okay, we have that spawn taken care of, and then I have an airstrike for whatever pops up next. Just work on knowing. Get into position to discover whatever fob they try to set up next. Should be smooth sailing from here, I think. So we outpaced the guys who were flanking us. They are inevitably coming for our defense, but they did not start neutralizing in time. And we have completely spawn wiped them on the east. So we have basically achieved what I was hoping to achieve in the last match that I showed you guys. We have spawn dominance. So now the name of the game is just asset denial. I need to know where their lodges are going as they brush them out of main. I need them to be shot down, or if not, I need to airstrike them myself.
Spawning nursery.
I wouldn't worry about it. They're gonna get around us, but what we can do is full cap orchard, full cap radio, and then the hab I built to the east is on their next flex. We could probably outpace them, rather than having to block them.
We have no mortars.
They're currently trying to cap nursery right now.
I can airstrike that hab if it's not gone.
Mortar's dead as well. I killed the lodges digging down the mortar.
Good shit, Eng. I'm gonna meet you probably for a fob eventually. Just not sure where yet.
Can I get the team leader back?
Yep.
One of the issues that we're running into right now is that I need people in cap range. If we keep killing lodges at a main, and if that fob is actually fully dealt with, we're completely good on the spawn department, except for the west spawn. And if we're not capping insanely efficiently, they might catch up. As soon as Orchard's full capped, we gotta be immediately on next flag, and then next flag as well. You wanna outpace the guys to the west?
We're in a hole.
I see you in cap.
Got a logic coming out of their main.
They're north of cap. Be careful of cap. They're in the river.
I'm just barreling the logi through and getting it into position even if I die. Oh fuck. Maybe. Now I kind of have to reiterate here as I'm driving to radio in kind of an aggressive fashion. I always assume that my logi's going to get fucked on Chora and that I have to work with the fobs that I have. I'm not expecting this to work, and I'm just doing it in the hopes that I can get another spawn up to even further solidify our map control. I'm really disliking how spread thin I am right now because I need the 3 cappers. I'm worried about people potentially making it in from unexpected angles, and then I also need people doing asset denial. We have multiple lodges coming out of main. We're killing most of them, but one of them probably just got by just now. And so I really don't like how stretched thin we are, and I really don't like how I'm on the knife's edge here, relying on outpacing an enemy on Chora, which is a very difficult thing to do. I also nearly knifed the fuck out of that guy when I missed my team menu key. That would have been pretty hilarious. And for any of you who do wonder why I pull my knife out when I'm placing fobs, is because of the many accidental misfires with situations like that. The team menu is laggy as shit. Keep in mind we still have to outpace them. Once Mark gets full capped, next flag is somewhere near my east fob.
Getting ready for it.
gonna pick you up real quick, but
Could you dump some ammo?
yeah.
Enemy definitely has a rally or something by nursery. They're keeping us
How
from
soon
getting
till
those
noon on
mortars back
market?
up.
MRAP's heading towards
About 10
market.
seconds.
I should be able to replace mortars with airstrike for rest of game. They're probably only gonna get one good fob up. If that. You could just fight on foot. Sorry that you kept dying. But you did what you had to. There we go. Okay, market's neutralized and we're on next flag as well.
Okay, left side of the MRAP south, east of market.
Where did you drop?
Drop most. I'm gonna double back on North Road in case we end up in worst case double nude.
Something to our
Getting
north.
wiped at Orchard.
It's okay, we have market. As long as we
Oh,
hold
there's
that,
everyone
we'll
north
get
of
flag as
Orchard.
well. What is it? Logi or MRAP?
SG on the north cap.
Logi?
It was heading east. Yeah, it was a Logi, it was heading east.
Let's kill it. We're gonna kill it. I'm a dumbass here and I assumed that Logi was coming right at me, even though Eng said east multiple times and he corrects me in a second and we get back on the road. But I'm just keeping the 600 supply in the off chance that my strategy doesn't work and we don't actually outpace them and they double nude us somewhere and I need to go back to their western fob and take it down.
Cap, that Logi was leaving. It was RTB.
Okay. Let's keep going, but let's keep going.
Crow's MRAP's passing me, so it's coming down the wadi bed towards you. Long, it'll be in the bed.
Shit. Well, I'm just gonna hide.
No, he's taking the north road.
Let me grab my
He's
rally.
taking the other wadi, north. By Yang.
Copy.
Hit.
Nice.
Burning.
I think I shot one person.
What do I want to do?
He's shooting me.
Probably pop north through the little hole.
Are they actually fixing it? Yeah, he's
They're repping it,
actually
they're repping it.
fixing- What the
They're repping
fuck?
Chase that MRAP survives.
He's behind the car, he's behind it. He's behind it.
I'm just doing stuff. Oh,
Okay, I need to be on Lavender.
That works out.
I'm bringing butt to B2. So once again, the downside of asset denial is the lack of manpower. I'm having to basically drive back so that me and Butt can be 2 of the 3 cappers here until people start spawning, because we're relying on this pace. And this is why this is just not a valid tactic except on super linear maps. Never take your 9-man squad to go build tofobs outside of enemy main. You probably won't do well enough to justify the lack of the people.
no, they're behind.
Alright, hop in, Butt.
Let's go. Go.
Nah, because I can only rearm 1 rocket.
Mortars
an
might
OBS
be
game.
coming back up in a sec.
What are you doing? You're going one way.
Kill the second guy. I think it's empty.
A what?
People have been
Yeah,
requesting
MRAP's
Chora.
Definitely very
invasion.
sure
I can't
Lavender's
imagine why.
capping.
Because it's different. It's hard to play the way I play on Chora.
Invasion, especially.
I recorded that calf invasion
gas
map,
station,
and I just kind of want to
whereabouts?
post a boring one and be like, this is why I don't like invasion.
Oh, there's
A
another
5-minute video.
vehicle coming. Oh, MRAP.
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Open
Too
or close?
close to talking. Fast forward.
Open.
Man.
Hey, what are you
gun.
guys doing? You guys need some help?
We're good. Thank you.
You use
though.
a shovel.
Ooh, there's infantry on me.
It's down.
no problem. Thank you.
There's actually infantry on me, so there's probably a spawn point close to my dead body.
Roger, coming or transport another MRAP. Get the infantry is accurate, it's gonna be good. That radio.
I just built another one just in case.
Moving to radio.
We might need more ammo here.
I'll do a run if I survive. Good kills on all the Vics.
Crow's gunner out.
Bit of ammo on the south end.
Next flag is just outside of their main. We'll hold this one until game end, probably. Just expect contact to catch up with us from the west because of that. So we're finally at the point here where we've pushed them so close to main that I can't keep doing this. I have had lucky, complete control over the roads to the north here. They have not tried to contest me at all, which has allowed me to pull off this kind of a strategy. It's a very risky thing on Chora, and they let me get by, but it's not going to work for the final flag. So the contact to the west is going to catch up now, and I need to worry about that. This thought process is why I didn't hold out for a double neutral, and I instead risked it and actually put the fob directly there, because I remembered that that very first fob I built to the east was actually in a very shitty position just out in that field because of the radio range, so I wanted to get a safer option. I'm also now going to immediately prioritize getting to a hab so I have my commander asset ready so I can deny them if they do manage to get a fob up. And as I'm thinking this, I do get confirmation that a Logi did make it into the east that we were not able to immediately jump on and destroy like all the other ones. This is the part where I start to get nervous. I feel like a lot of SLs will get nervous when they extend deep into enemy's territory without the best spawn network on normal maps, and for me I feel totally comfortable doing that because I'm not worried about it. I feel like I can comfortably outpace people. But Chora is a different story. We're going to need people to spawn on Lavender and push west.
You guys want to give us some locations? We'll send them in.
We've been outpacing the enemy, but they're going to catch up. Lavender's going to get hard from the west. I need some people to help me protect that.
Radio look just went down. We get eyes on that.
Yeah, let me know if it's accurate.
That marks past my range.
What are you doing here,
I'll
Goose?
airstrike it, if it's accurate.
Hey, Goose.
Sounds like it. So that'll
Oh, I see a hab.
I saw you
I
were at
see
8.
a hab.
Need one more.
Hab's in the middle of the nowhere.
Mark it.
Hab's over there.
Yeah, it's accurate. FTL? Eh?
I don't have it.
Wong has
I
it.
left because I didn't want to end the day without having been productive, so I produced some things. Now
Yeah, that
I'm back,
Bravo's accurate.
and you're all still here.
Yeah, it's 6 a.m. This is we play till 12 noon.
While I do this, Sniffles, can you take this back to main and then back to me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just another little side note, like I said in one of my earlier match analysis videos, I really wish Commander was a dedicated one-man thing, because it is so annoying to have to do this, to have to constantly run to Habs as an SL to use assets at the right time, which interferes with my other gameplay. You basically have to pick and choose. Do I want to be a really good SL, or do I want to be a really good Commander? And then you have to do the other one as a secondary function. In this game we had a mortar tube running most of the time, so I didn't really need to use my assets, but they could have been really powerful if used together and if I wasn't busy also creating most of the fobs for this game.
Беспилотный летательный аппарат на подходе.
We're kind of pinned here in this poppy field. Is there any way we can get a UAV or anything?
Yeah, I'm about to go kill their hab with a Artie here.
Нас тут прижали, нужна помощь.
Check maps for Artie, stay out of the radius.
How much build do you want?
12.
Oh, we're gonna start losing Lavender.
Yep, I've been telling the other squads to try to spawn push east. They're catching up with us. Just do what you can to block the people here. I'm killing their east fob now.
They're inside the hab.
Use the south one. They're catching up.
Yeah,
with us.
we help
Lavender.
people out a little further. That's why it's almost like no point for me to hit the mortars in.
They're mortaring the objective, not the hab. Awesome.
I have the perfect spot to watch this artillery strike.
Батарея, огонь на поражение.
Inbound.
That's glorious.
5, y'all need a ride?
First TK is officially done. Oh, they're inside rebuilding.
Bye.
Your ride. 1 sec.
Why can't they outpace it? They're working on it.
Yes.
They're trying to outpace by Artie by rebuilding. It's a close battle.
Батарея стрельбу закончила.
But they might just get it. Come on, land one right in there. Oh, the SL's dead.
He's found me out.
Oh, he's still digging,
Ghosting.
son of a bitch.
Oh yeah. They're north of Lavender also.
We didn't kill that fox.
Pretty much surrounding it at this point.
Who would win? A constant barrage of 155mm artillery, or a shovel? Anyway, I freeze framed this so you can see the timing of the next clip. It's pretty funny, because I'm immediately thinking to myself, shit, now I really hope the game ends before they catch us on the west, or they could potentially roll this back.
Yep, north of the bridge.
You gotta hope the game ends before. Yep.
Epic win.
Oh yeah, brother.
That's a
Somebody
fucking risky
meta-
strat,
cool
trying to
meta
outpace
guy.
them instead of actually taking care of their west shit. Jesus, 118.
Look
Calm
at
down,
Sniffles
guys.
with the
Calm
mortars.
down.
Damn, I really.
You all just chill out with the kills.
Big
Oh,
numbers,
God.
Goose.
Wow, nice.
That's some of the craziest
Alright, guys,
stuff
Suck
I've ever seen.
Suck it,
Where
BB.
this
Suck.
hostility has been coming from today.
That was an angry crowd. Oh my
They
god.
kept on getting really, really fucking upset when they were losing, and then we switched over, and then we started winning, and then they started yelling at BB because, haha, now you're losing, and you switched teams. And now they're all pissed. I don't know. You can't win. You cannot win.
Did we just have a group KD of 3-1? Was that?
Yes.
So as you can see, I had a huge benefit by having my clan there. That was just amazing micro all around, from destroying assets, killing so many lodges, immediately getting mortars onto target, calling things out, finding everything. This is really hard for a pub SL to replicate. And also I had complete control over the north and east roads. They just let me build my flanking fobs. This match could have gone incredibly differently if they didn't allow me to do that, and especially if I didn't have just default good micro because I am a part of a clan. If you look at the scoreboard, you'll notice that we basically made the equal KD. It would have been a heavily negative KD round if not for our squad. And even with that said, if we didn't get the tickets that we got from grinding assets on the east end of the map and destroying enemy vehicles, I really don't know if we could have won if this just ended up being fob wars over a central objective because the enemy team didn't allow me to get logistics around. If we would have left to go dedicate ourselves to that and just gone on foot, then we would have most likely lost the objective and not be able to have spawns in place to outpace the enemy. And if we had dedicated ourselves instead to straight KD on objectives, we would not have gotten the same ticket buffer, and it almost definitely would have been a game loss. Now take this all with a grain of salt, because asset denial and flanking on Chora and dedicating a squad to the opposite side of the river to control it is a extremely volatile strategy, and in this case everything went perfectly and we actually managed to full spawn wipe the enemy except for a single western fob, and then actually managed to deal with objective play without even having to worry about that west fob. It was definitely a best case scenario, so I wouldn't use this as a default how to play Chora, outside of maybe some of the advice I gave early on about assuming that your first fob is your only fob, but it was definitely a great match, and it was definitely an unexpected outcome, and a best case scenario for Chora gameplay, which I usually honestly despise.